Welcome to Max Premieres. Today we dedicate the entire video to Prime Video and its best series right now. Teen espionage, historical fantasy, crime thriller, socially charged horror, supernatural mystery, end-of-the-world westerns, and top-tier animation. This is one of the most varied catalogs on any streaming platform right now, and these 13 series prove that Prime holds its own against any competitor. But before we get into it, it would mean a lot if you took a moment to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much! Number 13. Alex Rider. Alex Rider is 17 years old with his whole life ahead of him, until he discovers that his uncle, who he believed to be an ordinary man, was actually a British MI6 agent. That fact immediately makes him the perfect candidate to replace him on the only mission that matters right now. Quickly trained in combat and tactics, Alex has to do what experienced adult agents have not been able to: infiltrate places where a teenager goes unnoticed and no one raises their guard. The series takes Anthony Horowitz's famous book series and adapts it with a seriousness that does not underestimate its audience at any point. The action is believable, the protagonist is genuinely interesting, and the world of espionage is drawn with enough complexity that no adult will be bored watching alongside their kids. 3 complete seasons available on Prime Video, all at a solid level of quality. One of the few young adult series that works equally well for any age group that watches it. If action and espionage interest you, start here this week. Number 12. My Lady Jane. History remembers Lady Jane Grey as the 9-Day Queen, executed at 16 without mercy. This version decides to do something completely different. Reimagine her life in an alternate 16th century England where some humans can transform into animals. Jane is a rebellious intellectual, forced into marriage with Lord Guilford Dudley by her ambitious and unscrupulous mother. When she is suddenly crowned queen, she finds herself caught in political chaos while discovering that her husband has a connection to the transforming beings that puts them both in danger. The series blends period drama with fantasy and humor in a way that feels fresh and entirely its own without direct precedence in the genre. It is the kind of show that either hooks you from the first episode or it is not for you, but those who entered its world do not want to leave under any circumstances. The entire first season is available on Prime Video waiting for you. If you enjoyed The Greater Reign, do not miss this historical and fantastical proposition. Number 11. Cross. Detective Alex Cross has solved cases no one else could crack, but there is a cost to living inside the minds of killers, and that cost is paid over time without anyone noticing. The series, based on James Patterson's famous thrillers, follows Cross as a devoted father and relentless investigator carrying the personal tragedy of his wife's murder. That loss fuels a determination that sometimes crosses the line of what is reasonable without him even realizing what he is doing. Aldous Hodge delivers a very strong performance in the lead role, building a character who is not the infallible detective of the cliché, but someone who genuinely struggles with the darkest cases the city can produce. The first season has 8 well-constructed episodes, has already been renewed for a second run that is on the way, and has everything needed to become one of the best crime series on the platform. The series not only entertains, but reminds you why a well-made crime thriller is one of the most effective and addictive genres in contemporary television. Number 10. Them. The Emery family, a black family from North Carolina, moves to an all-white neighborhood in Los Angeles in the 1950s, searching for a better life. What they find is organized and undisguised hostility from their neighbors that quickly escalates to bewildering and deeply disturbing levels of violence. But beyond the human brutality, something else inhabits their new home. Something supernatural that seems to feed on the family's racial trauma and accumulated desperation over the days. Them is a horror series that operates on 2 simultaneous levels: the horror of mid-20th century systemic racism, which is completely real and extensively documented historically, and the supernatural horror that amplifies it on screen in chilling ways. The result is a dense, uncomfortable, and extraordinarily effective experience that does not leave the viewer in peace even during the closing credits. One of the best genre miniseries of recent years that deserves far more attention than it has received so far. If social horror with real historical weight interests you, this is the definitive option. Number 9. The Devil's Hour. 3:33 in the morning. Exactly at that hour, Lucy Chambers wakes up every night from nightmares she cannot remember upon waking. Her 8-year-old son shows behaviors that psychiatrists cannot explain in any satisfactory way. A homicide investigation in her social work area connects her to a suspect named Gideon, who has something extraordinary and completely unsettling. He can remember the future with a precision that defies any rational explanation. The British series plays with temporal paradox in a way that recalls Dark without losing its own narrative identity at any point across both seasons. It builds a mystery where every answer generates 3 new questions without that becoming frustrating but deeply addictive. Peter Capaldi's work as Gideon is among the best of his long and acclaimed career, and the series closes in a way that very few productions in the genre dare to attempt. 2 complete seasons available on Prime Video, a gem that more people should discover without any further delay. Number 8. Outer Range. Royal Abbott is a Wyoming rancher who has spent decades defending his land and family with the stubbornness of someone who simply cannot imagine living any other way possible. Then he finds a black void in the west pasture of his property. Not figuratively. A literal and inexplicable void that defies the laws of physics and seems to contain something connected to time itself and to his family's past. The series blends American frontier family drama with philosophical science fiction in a combination that should not work and yet works perfectly throughout every episode of its 2 available seasons. Josh Brolin is extraordinary in the lead role, and the show has the patience of a good Western to build its tension without rushing or making concessions to the usual commercial pace of streaming. The second season expands the mystery and leaves even more questions open than the first. For those who can handle a deliberate pace, it is one of the best things Prime Video has to offer, and one of the most original series currently running on any platform. Number 7. House of David. In Israel 1,000 years before Christ, a young shepherd from Bethlehem receives a visit from the prophet Samuel with a message that will change the fate of a nation. He has been chosen to be the next king. That shepherd is David. The series follows his journey from the fields of Bethlehem to the battlefields, passing through the court of King Saul, whose reign is already marked by divine disobedience and growing paranoia consuming him. House of David treats its characters as real people with understandable motivations rather than mythological stained glass figures, and that is what makes it genuinely gripping for audiences of any religious background. The portrayal of Goliath as an imposing warrior and the battle that pits him against David are among the best scenes the biblical genre has produced in recent television. An ambitious production that Prime Video has backed with first-rate production quality in every detail. The story of David remains one of the most fascinating in all of human history, and this series does it justice. Number 6. The Bondsman. Hub Longan was a bail bondsman in a small Montana town. He was murdered. That should have been the end of the story. But the devil needs someone with experience to capture demons that have escaped from the underworld, and Hub is exactly the kind of man with practical skills and very little patience for unnecessary sentimentality. He is resurrected with one clear condition: he will work for hell from now on with no possibility of negotiating the terms. Kevin Bacon plays Hub with an energy that blends world weariness with the dry humor of someone who has nothing left to lose in any sense whatsoever. The Bondsman is a series that knows exactly what it is: supernatural action, entertainment with a charismatic protagonist at the center of everything that happens. The episodes have consistent rhythm, the underworld mythology is inventive, and the tone belongs to a show that does not take itself too seriously without losing sight of what really matters. One of the most pleasant surprises of the year on Prime Video. Number 5. The Wheel of Time. In a world where magic exists but only certain humans can wield it, an Aes Sedai agent sets out to find the Dragon Reborn, a being prophesied to either save or destroy the world depending on the decisions they make. The problem is, she does not know who it is among the candidates she has found. The search leads her to the quiet village of Emmons Field, where 5 young people could be that being. Based on Robert Jordan's 14-novel saga, arguably the most ambitious epic fantasy ever written, the series faces the enormous challenge of compressing an extraordinarily complex universe into television episodes and achieves it with sufficient dignity. Prime Video's production has the budget needed to do the visual material justice. Season 3 is already available. For those who love dense and patient epic world-building fantasy, this is one of the most solid options on any streaming platform right now. Number 4. Secret Level. Secret Level reimagines iconic video game worlds with a creative freedom that no previous animation project had attempted, with so much ambition and visual variety at the same time. Each episode explores a unique story within a different video game universe, from epic battles to existential dilemmas that fans of the original games did not expect to find on any screen of any platform. The result is an anthology series that works for those who know every reference and also for those approaching without any prior context, because the stories are solid enough to stand on their own without depending on the viewer's previous familiarity. Voice performances are at a high level, and the animation varies in style according to each episode's universe, giving it a notable and surprising visual variety in each installment. It is the kind of series that proves video games have as much to say as any other narrative form when treated with the respect and ambition they truly deserve. Number 3. Invincible. Invincible follows Mark Grayson, a teenager who discovers the powers he inherited from his father Omni-Man, the most powerful superhero on the planet. What starts as a conventional origin story quickly transforms into something completely different when the truths about his father and about the world of superheroes start coming to light with a narrative violence that very few animated series have dared to deploy before their audience in that direct way. The third season continues, expanding Mark's universe with ambition that grows from season to season without losing the emotional thread of the characters that make the spectacle genuinely work. The series has always centered on the father-son relationship, and that is still what drives every important narrative decision right to the end of each season. For those who have not yet discovered it, it is one of the best superhero series currently running on any platform without exception. Start today without excuses, and you will not regret having discovered it at all. Number 2. The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power. The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power returns to Middle-earth's Second Age to tell the story that Tolkien outlined in his appendices. The rise of Sauron, the forging of the Rings of Power, and the alliances that form and break among elves, dwarves, and men in the face of a darkness no one wants to see until it is already too late. Galadriel leads the fight against what she feels is coming, while the others prefer to believe the war has ended permanently and for good. The production is on a visual scale that few series in television history have matched, and the second season corrected many of the criticisms the first received regarding pacing and narrative clarity. For fans of Tolkien's universe, it is the most ambitious spectacle ever attempted in television, with that material, and deserves to be watched completely and with attention. Both seasons are available on Prime Video for all subscribers right now. Number 1. Reacher. Jack Reacher is a former Army military police officer who wanders the country with no plan or destination, living with literally just what he has on at any given moment. When he arrives in the small town of Margrave, Georgia, he is arrested for a murder he did not commit. What seems like a misunderstanding is actually the surface layer of a conspiracy that reaches very powerful people. Reacher has no patience for legal processes. He stands nearly 2 meters tall and has the disposition of someone to whom personal consequences simply do not matter as long as the right people pay for what they did. Alan Ritchson is absolutely perfect in the lead role, and the series has a clarity of purpose that few action productions achieve, knowing exactly what it is and delivering it with absolute conviction in every single episode without pretending to be more than it is. 3 seasons available on Prime Video, each with a self-contained story and all at the same elevated level of quality. The best decision you can make for your next series marathon. And that is all. 13 Prime Video series ranging from teen spy drama to high-budget epic fantasy, through social horror and supernatural westerns. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss what we drop next. We will keep covering the best of international streaming.